Hello everyone and welcome back to Simple Statistics. Today we're going to be discussing arithmetic mean. Average or mean, they all go hand in hand. So we're going to be discussing what it means, how to find it, and also how to calculate it in Excel. So if you want to find it directly in Excel, just skip a little bit to the near the middle of this video and we'll calculate it in Excel. It's really simple, but we'll get straight into the video. So essentially to find the mean, which is denoted by x bar, as we've discussed in other videos. We take the sum of the measurements and then we divide it by the total amount of the measurements. So for a sample, mean is simply the arithmetic mean is simply denoted as x bar equals, we take the summation of n xi, and then we're going to denote I as equal to 1, and then we divide it over n. And for the population, it's the same equation, just plugging in some different population parameter notations, as we've explained in this statistical notations video. So a population is going to be denoted as, population mean is going to be denoted as mu. We'll put the x as well there. And then we're going to take, same as before, summation xi, n, but this time capital N. We're going to set I equals to 1. And then we're going to divide it over n, capital N, for a population. So as an example, there are 10 cars in a parking lot. What is the average price between them? These are the type of questions we can solve by getting the mean. So we see that we have 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 110,000, 35,000. So to begin sorting out this question, we'll assume that it's a sample. So denote as x bar. We'll take the summation. We'll summate all of this. And this will give us 362,000. And then since we have this aspect of the formula can be turned simply into 36,200. Because this part is simply just adding up all of the numbers. And now that we have that, we divide it by n, which is the amount of measurements, and that's 10. So we divide it by 10, and that will give us an average of 36,200 as the average price. But then if you start to think about it a little bit critically, you notice that all of these numbers are consistent except for this one, 110,000. That is why the mean is not a great measure to find the central measure of tendency with large fluctuations and with a random extreme variable. And when we hop into Excel, I'll show you this. So I've plugged in all the numbers from how many cars. So to find the mean, what we can simply do is, first we need to do the first part of that equation, which was adding up all of the numbers. And we can use that as a shortcut. We use sum, and we can select all of them, and that gives us our 362,000. Next, we want to divide it by the amount of observations. So another shortcut, we can easily count that it's 10, but in large data sets, it can be sometimes hard. So we can use a shortcut, count. And once we have that, we select it once again. We find that we have 10 observations. We take that, divide it by the observations, and we get our average. A simpler way to do it in one formula would be to do sum, get that, close the bracket, divided by count, and then we close it, and we see we get the same answer, all in one formula. But as I was mentioning before, we notice that we have 110,000 here, which is an extreme variable compared to the rest of the numbers. And simply just removing it, you see how much of a difference it makes. It goes from 36,200 to 28,000 being the average, which highlights that, is this really a good measure to find the measure of central tendency? But in situations where there aren't too many extreme variables, it works out, and in large data sets. So thank you for watching, and look forward to more videos.